UK lockdown number 2. This is just my thoughts. Obviously, everyone has massively different opinions, and this is getting quite horribly divided, really, between the people who believe that we need to have more lockdowns and people aren't wearing the masks, and people getting very, very angry, really. To compared to the other side of the coin, where people believe, if you're going to get it, you get it. You're not going to die. More often than not, you're fine. If you've not got underlying issues and you're not 80-year-old, then pretty much you're all good. But there's this massive divide and this massive anger that I see pretty much escalating now. I work in retail, and you can certainly see the anger of people and frustration, and so many people come into me and say they feel very, very restricted with the mask. And from the government's point of view, they tend to emphasize more the cases now. It's not even about the deaths anymore. It's more, well, there's been more cases. And I live in a very, very, very small town with a few thousand people, really. It really is small. And there's just testing centres appearing all over the bleeding place. And you can see a massive push to more restrictions. You can see a massive push for people to get tested. You can see a massive push in feeling that they've got the proper numbers, and even though they're not proper numbers, and they're all massively escalated and massively added on to things, that don't even exist. And also there's the dying with COVID, as opposed to just dying with COVID properly, if you will, and they're just added on to other things which everybody knows anyway. There's a massive push for more regulations, and at one time it was fine to go into the shops with no mask whatsoever, and then they push obviously for wearing a mask. The people behind the counter who are working 8-hour shifts, which myself I do, then you did not need a mask. You're nowhere near the bleeding customers. The customers are behind the other screen. They're quite a distance from you, and when they're paying, in all fairness, what is that, a minute for them to just plonk their card down, or a minute or so for them to give you cash and to give them change? This is no time at all. They're certainly not stood there for hours passing on any virus to you. And now obviously we see push for the retail workers to be wearing masks, taxi drivers to be wearing masks, and the list goes on. And this isn't going away anytime soon. This is just, as I see it, more and more of an escalation. I could certainly see that masks go compulsory outside. I could certainly see that maybe they come up with the nonsense of, those people stood at a bus stop and they're talking to each other. They could certainly be passing it on, couldn't they? As we all know, people could be outside, maybe suddenly seeing someone who they know could be stood there talking to them for 20 minutes and again passing it on. And it will just carry on this forevermore, as we all know. I could certainly, like I say, certainly see masks outside being compulsory. The marshals are pretty much in every town now. Again, massive pushes on that. It just comes to me as proper more like fear mongering and more like people being scared, and I just don't see that anybody needs to be scared of this. I just see it more like it's frightening people who honestly don't need to be frightened, and just a massive push until we go to vaccinations. And as for all the people who say, listen, I'm not taking it, I totally agree with you. Things aren't even tested. But it's quite easy to force it. Let's be honest. It really is quite easy to force it. And I don't mean holding you down or anything like that. But there's certainly ways around it. They could say something like, if you've not been tested, then you would need to get a pass or a number. This number you would need to maybe use to get universal credit or job seekers. They would need a pass number maybe for you going to work. It would maybe something that you would need to put down that you had signed up for this and you were safe to go into work. The list goes on. This is going to be massively pushed. And again, also, even if you think, well, I'm not going to do it. They could certainly do cash incentives, you know, and pretty much everybody's got a price, haven't they? And they could certainly make some sort of system that you sign up and you get some sort of £5,000 cash reward, £10,000 cash reward. People would see this as a damn good idea. Hey ho, they're giving us money. What people do not realise is the system's being crashed massively. And you know, it's quite easy maybe to be blind to what's going on or not see the end result of what they're trying to do. As for a lockdown coming, again, absolutely, I don't see any way around this. I do believe it will come. Even if they try and go in little stages where we'll just test it out here, we'll just test the north, we'll maybe just test Scotland. Absolutely, the whole lot will shut down. There is no question about that. And again, for people's jobs, it's a knock-on effect. It's not people who just think, well, retail's gone, we didn't use those shops anyway. You forget that those people maybe booked a holiday every year and that there affects the travel industry. You forget that maybe those people you know, went to restaurants, you know, that massively affects that. You forget that those people shop in a supermarket every week and maybe the cost of what they're spending goes down. They maybe knock off the bottle of wine, or they maybe knock off the cakes, or they, you know, the whole industry of every little shop that sort of goes bankrupt or lays people off knocks onto every other single industry, and we just end up with a massive domino effect where eventually we just really are in an absolute mess. And I do believe this is coming down the road. I do believe that we will go into a depression. Again, I don't see any way around that. I just think this is just going to keep going and going. And what is quite scary is it comes in little stages that maybe people don't see the bigger picture. Maybe people just see little bits of it and think, well, it's not too bad. It's only a mask in the shop and it's only this and it's only that. And before we maybe look back and think, Jesus Christ, what road are we going down here? You know, because it really is just going to be an absolute mess. And I do believe those days are coming. Again, don't want to scare anybody, you know. We've all got to do what we've got to do. What I want to say to everybody is, seriously, look out for yourself. Get yourself as organised as certainly possible. Get rid of any debt. You don't want to be stuck in sort of dodgy jobs where you've got debt, so you've got a lot of bills or problems. And try and get rid of as much as you possibly can. Look for jobs that you can do maybe as a bit of a sideline or something like this, where you can maybe just work a few hours here and there. Do whatever you can to protect you and your family. You know, if you know people who want to maybe move in, help you with the bills, you know, so on and so forth. We will get through this. You've just got to maybe swerve a little bit or pivot or come out of comfort zones, or maybe think outside the box a little bit of what's going to work for you and how, you know, you can get through it. What I want to say is try not to believe too much of the media, too much of the scaremongering, because that's absolutely nonsense. Pretty much most people know that. Okay. Yeah, and find yourself some like-minded people and people who agree with you and people who are on the same page. Don't get sucked into too much negativity, you know, and there is a way through and we will make it through, all right? Even if it takes a damn few protests and loads of petitions, you know, there is a way out the end of this. But yeah, I think it's a long dark road. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care and I wish you all the best. Bye bye.